Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start our webinar shortly. Honorable Director of CMO Secretariat, Honorable Board of Directors of CMOLEC, Honorable Speakers, Partners, and the Committee of this international webinar, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the international webinar on the power of gamification and competition for educational fun. Play, learn, win. We are sincerely grateful and appreciate your participation in this webinar. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Akil, and I'm honored to be your Master of Ceremony for the webinar today. As a center that focuses on open and distance learning, SAMLEC initiated this international webinar as an effort to elaborate diverse learning styles and preferences. Furthermore, these innovative approaches, like gamification and competition, can also foster a culture of lifelong learning. This webinar will provide an important forum for educators, experts, stakeholders, policymakers, and the wider public from different regions of the world to examine the theories and principles of gamification and competition in education, showcasing the successful implementation and exploring their impacts on student motivation, engagement, and learning outcomes. Ladies and gentlemen, now allow me to present the agenda of our opening ceremony today. We'll first have the welcome remarks by SEMLEC Director, Dr. Wahyudi. Next, we'll have special remarks delivered by the Team Leader of Quality Assurance, Directorate of Learning and Student Affairs, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology, Mr. Kevin Marbun, followed by the official opening remarks by Deputy Director for Administration and Communication from CMO Secretariat, Thailand, Ms. Pintip Emirat. After that, we will have the presentation and discussion session led by Dr. Sinta Dewi from SMAN 7 Depok. At the end, we'll have a question and answer session followed by the closing session. To begin the ceremony, ladies and gentlemen, let us now enjoy the presentation of Samuel Color. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, proceeding to our agenda, may I invite the Director of Semalek to deliver the welcome remarks. Dr. Wahyudi, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Mas Akil. Mas Akil, our that HC. Honorable Mr. Kevin Marguns, Team Leader of Quality Assurance, Directorate of Learning and Skill Affairs, Ministry of Education, Culture, Education and Technology, Indonesia. Honorable Ms. Pindik Lamirans, Deputy Director for Admin and Communications of Civil Secretariat Bangkok. Our esteemed guests, participants, and distinguished speakers, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome to the international webinar on the power of gamification and competition for education fund. Play, learn, win. As the director of Simulates, it is my pleasure to extend warm greetings to all of you. In today's rapidly evolving educational landscapes, the quest to sustain our student engagements and motivations remain an ongoing challenge. However, we stand witness to the transformative potential of recent advancements in educational psychology and technology. One such paradigm-shifting approach, garnering global attention, is the integration of gamifications and competition into learning environments. Gamifications, with its ingenious application of game design elements to non-game contexts, offers a dynamic platforms to enhance engagements and motivations in educations. By infusing elements like points, badges, levels, and leaderboards, educators can turn ordinary learning tasks into captivating adventures. Furthermore, the constructive use of competitions serves as a powerful catalyst in educational settings. Healthy competitions ignite excitements, foster good settings, and also nurtures collaborations among students, thus creating a vibrant learning ecosystems where academic excellence thrives. Today's webinars aim to delve into the theoretical underpinnings, successful implementations, and qualitative impacts of gamifications and competitions in education. Through insightful discussions and knowledge exchange, aspires to equip educators, policymakers, researchers, and practitioners with tools and strategies to craft enriching and effective learning experiences. Yet, before we commence with our enlightening discussions, I would like to extend my sincerest gratitude to Ms. Pintit and the entire team at Secretariat for their invaluable support to these webinars. Also, to our esteemed speakers and moderators, each of you has played a part of role in stepping through these discussions, and we are immensely grateful for your contributions. First, to Mr. Sarat Laksana Suits, thank you for sharing your expertise and insights on motivating English learners through gamifications. Your research and practical insights are invaluable contributions to our understandings of how gamification can enhance language learning experiences. Mr. Alfie Alfi, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for your illuminating presentations on the metaverse as a new technology. I believe your insight into the intersection of technology and education are truly enlightening, inspiring us to embrace emerging technologies in education. Of course, our long friends, Dr. Pinita Devi from UBI, thank you very much for your insightful presentations on navigating gamification's pedagogical challenges. We truly believe your expertise in this field is evidence, and your insight into overcoming obstacles in gamified learning environments are invaluable for educators worldwide. Ms. Wahyu Widosari from Korea, we appreciate your expertise on collaboration in competition and gamifications. Your insight into leveraging collaborations to enhance gamified learning experience and contribute significantly to the discourse on gamifications in education. Last but not least, to our moderator, Dr. Sinta Devi. We extend our heartfelt thanks for your presence today discussions with expertise and grace. I believe your guidance will ensure that our conversation will be focused, insightful, and engaging, and lead to a shared understanding of the topics at hand. Well, we truly believe that each of you will make significant contribution shaping today's discussion and also enrich our collective understanding on gamification and competition in educations. Finally, I would like to encourage active participation from all attendees in the subsequent Q&A sessions to enrich our collective understandings and also harness the full potential of gamification and competitions in our educations. Once again, extend a warm welcome to each one of you. Look forward to stimulating and productive discussion ahead. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mas Akil.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Wahyudi, for the remarks. Moving to the next agenda, may we invite the team leader of Quality Assurance Directorate of Learning and Student Affairs, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, Mr. Kevin Marbun, to deliver the special remarks. Mr. Kevin Marbun, the time is yours.
Thank you, Pak Akil. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, esteemed speakers, distinguished committee, and participants from around the world. My name is Kevin Marbun, on behalf of the Secretary of the Directorate General of Higher Education, Research and Technology, as the representative of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of Indonesia. We are very delighted to extend our full support to the Siameo Regional Open Learning Center, Siamolek, for organizing the international webinar on the power of gamification and competition for educational fun, held today, April the 30th, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's rapidly evolving educational landscape, it is imperative to explore innovative approaches that enhance student engagement and motivation. The integration of gamification and competition into learning environments presents a promising avenue to achieve this goal. Ladies and gentlemen, we commend Siamolek for conducting this initiative, which aligns with our commitment to promoting excellence and innovation in education. This webinar exemplifies our commitment to the Merdeka Belajar. It's an Indonesian term for emancipated learning policy, which is a cornerstone of our educational agenda. This cornerstone, this Merdeka Belajar, this emancipated learning, emphasizes the importance of fostering creativity, innovation, and critical thinking skills among our students. By embracing the gamification and competition in educational settings, we empower learners to take ownership of their learning journey, explore new concepts with enthusiasm, and develop lifelong learnings. Ladies and gentlemen, this webinar provides a valuable platform for educators, researchers, policymakers, and also practitioners to exchange ideas, share best practices, and also explore new strategies for enriching the learning experience. We encourage all stakeholders in the education sector to actively participate in this webinar and leverage the insights gained to enhance teaching and learning practices in Indonesia and beyond. We extend our best wishes to the success of this webinar and commend Siamolek for its dedication to advancing education in the region. So thank you, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to you, Pak Akil. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Kevin Marbun, for giving the special remarks. Moving to the next agenda, before we start the presentation and discussion sessions, may I invite the Director of CMS Qatar Bangkok that will be represented by the Deputy Director for Administration and Communication, Ms. Pintip Yamirat, to deliver the remarks as well as officially open the webinar. Ms. Pintip Yamirat, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon to all of you. I'm thrilled to join among educators, policymakers, and innovators in this international webinar on the power of gamification and competition for educational fun, organized by Simulink. All of us are gathered here to explore an exciting event that aligns perfectly with the natural human inclinations towards challenge, achievement, and social interaction. That's why today we are discussing about gamification and competition, not just as tools, but as transformative forces that make learning an exhilarating adventure for learners. Why focus on gamification? Because learning should be joyful, engaging, and deeply immersive. Gamification responds to the fundamental human desires to play, to conquer challenges, and to celebrate achievements. It leverages elements like points, badges, and leaderboards that spur enthusiasm and motivate learners not just to participate, but to excel. And why bring competition into learning? It's because competition is a powerful motivator. It encourages learners to push their boundaries and foster a sense of community and collaboration, even as it drives individual achievement. Through friendly contests and leaderboards, we don't just learn, we strive, we connect, and we grow. In today's sessions, our esteemed speakers will showcase innovative strategies and real-world examples where gamification and competition have significantly enhanced educational outcomes. We will explore how these elements can be implemented across various educational settings to make learning not only more effective, but remarkably enjoyable. Let's make learning not just a task, but a thrilling journey that every learner wants to embark on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pintip Yamirat, for the remarks and for opening this webinar. To Mr. Kevin Marbon, once again, thank you for your remarks. We are happy if you can stay in this whole webinar session, but we will understand if you have another agenda. You may please dismiss yourself, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, proceeded to the next agenda. I would like to inform you that the moderator of this session will be Dr. Sinta Dewi Sekarwati. Dr. Sinta Dewi Sekarwati is currently a teacher at SMAN 7 Depok, Indonesia. She finished her doctoral degree in environmental education in 2015 from Jakarta State University. In 2017, she wrote a book titled Blended Learning, 21st Century Learning Strategies, and in 2020, she became a winner of writing articles on educational technology. She is also actively involved as Shamolek's online training instructor. Dr. Sinta, the time is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Akil. Good afternoon, depending on where you are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. I'm very pleased to see you all here. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Sinta Dewi Skarwati, a teacher from SMA Negeri 7 Kota Depok. I'll be responsible for hosting this presentation today. Today, we are presenting the power of gamification and competition for educational fun. Play, learn, win. Presented by The four speakers following with Mr. Saharat Laksanasud. Hello, Mr. Laksanasud.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, Mr. Akib Alfi. Hello, Mr. Alfi.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dr. Vinita Dewi. Hello, Dr. Vinita. And Mrs. Wahyu Widosari M. Bayoteh. Hello, Mrs. Wahyu.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you. We are going to do the presentation for the next 2 hours, and each speaker will have 20 minutes to present the topic, and we will have Q&A session at last for 15 minutes. The agenda of this webinar is to introduce an innovative approach to increase student motivation by integrating gamification and competition in fun learning activities and lecture. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to Mr. Saharat Laksanasud, our first speaker for today. He is founder of TESOL Hackathon Thailand, head of Research Education Development Department, Angsila Patiakom School, Thailand. Mr. Laksanasud is an esteemed educator and innovator in English language teaching (ELT) as the founder of TESOL Hackathon Thailand. He pioneers collaborative initiative to transform language education, recognized as a Relo grantee in the 42nd Thai TESOL International Conference 2023 and a Thailand Cultural Ambassador for the 2022 Youth Camp for Asian and French Engagement. Mr. Laksanasud is dedicated to promoting global citizen and youth empowerment. His groundbreaking work has earned him awards such as the National Champion Awards in the 2022 Learning Management Innovation Competition. Through research, publication, and speaking engagements, he continues to shape the future of ELT in Thailand and beyond. Presentation Mr. Laksanasud about motivating English learners through gamification, insight for research and practice. Mr. Laksanasud, you have 20 minutes to present, and we will keep the question at last. For participants, if you have any question, please write it down in the column section, and we will discuss it after the presentation are done. Okay, Mr. Laksanasud, the time is yours.
Thank you very much. Well, allow me to share my screen first.
Okay.
I hope you can see my screen, right?
We can see.
All right. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Saharat Laksanasud from Thailand. I am working as a teacher as well as a researcher at a public secondary school in Thailand. I was the winner of the Thailand 2021 National Educational Innovation Contest in Thailand. And the gamified learning activity is one of my teaching innovation that allowed me to win this award as well. And I was also the Thai youth representative to United Nations as well. So first of all, thank you very much for having me today. And thank you everyone. Thank you teacher, educator, who attends the webinar. So I think this opportunity is a great opportunity for us to share, to learn from each other. All right. Before I walk you through my experiences, my best practice, and my material that I have used in my classroom to run a gamification concept in my classroom, I would love to use a short time to set clear, to make sure that everyone are on the same page about the gamification concept. All right, first of all, there are two things that make it confuse a little bit because it's quite they are quite familiar with each other. The first one is game-based learning or GBL, and the second one is gamification concept that we're going to talk about today. So in short, Basically, the game-based learning GBL is an approach that we bring any kind of games into the classroom and let students play. Okay, like we bring a board game, video games, or computer game into the classroom and let students play by their own. This one is a game-based learning approach. But for gamification basically we did not bring any kind of game into the classroom, but we use some games element in the classroom. So what are the game elements that I mentioned in the classroom? These 5 things is an example of the games element that we can use in the classroom to allow students learn and play at the same time. So the first one is the point correcting system. The point collecting system is one of the games element that we can bring inside the classroom, allowing students to be more engaged with the classroom, more challenging in the classroom by allowing students to collect extra points, special points from doing tasks, from doing any homeworks of them. The first one is the point collecting system, the first gamification elements that we can use in the classroom. The example and the case study of mine will share later. The second one, the badges. The badges is the one that we can bring into the classroom when students can achieve or complete any task that I have assigned to them. We can give them like a badges, an excellent student badge, a good student badge, a punctual person badge to the student, for example, so that they can be proud and they can be fun and they can use their badges that they have got to share with author as well. I will show the example later. The third one, the milestones. The milestone is also another games element that we can bring into the classroom as well. Allow students to set their goals or set their milestone for each lesson or for each week, for example. Allow them to set that goal and allow them to achieve that goal. And when they achieve that goal, we as a teacher can give them like badge as well and extra point as well. Okay, you can see the dynamic of these elements. The fourth one, ranking. This one is the easiest one, I think, because we can rank students from the first, the second, the third every week according to their score that they have or their points that they have. So students will be more interested in learning in our classroom because they would like to see their ranking every week, every month, for example. The example will be shared later. Stay tuned. And the last one, competition. I think this one is the key factor, key elements of the gamified learning activity. We should bring a friendly competition in the classroom to challenge students, to encourage students, and to motivate students. So these 5 things are some example of games elements that we can integrate into the normal or regular learning teaching activity to make our classroom more challenging, more interesting to students. So I bring this application. I think you are teachers, you are educators. I think you may have seen this kind of application. This one, Duolingo, is an application that we can learn languages with the real gamification concept. I think Duolingo is the best example to show us how gamification concept can work with the educational context. In the Duolingo application, we can like collect score, collect points when practicing learning languages, practicing speaking, listening, right? We can get higher level, we can get award, and we can get badges as well. So I think most of you may have seen this kind of application. So for today, I'm here to take this opportunity to share with all of you my experiences, my real world example of applying gamification concept in the real classroom. So several years ago, I have publicized my research paper investigating the effects of the gamified learning activity on English learning achievement of grade 9 students in my school. So let's see. I would like to show you the big picture of how I conduct my English classroom together with integration of the gamification concept. On your left-hand side of the screen is the process of my teaching, normal teaching. In Thailand, especially in my school, language teacher will teach students by using 2W and 3Ps approach, consisting of 5 stages. The first one, warm-up stage, we will get student attention. Normally, we introduce the topic that student have to learn at that time. The second stage is the presentation stage, where the teacher deliver the language content to student, or sometimes if we would like to make our classroom more active, we can allow students to do some activity to learn language content in the presentation stage. The third one is the practice stage. We allow students to practice what they have learned earlier in through exercise, through doing some activity with their friends. And the fourth one, production stage. In this stage, we allow students to apply the knowledge that they have learned in the classroom through allowing them to do the task, do the project, do the group works. And the last one, wrap up, conclusion, summary of the lesson. So these 5 stages are the process of teaching language in my school. So how I integrate the gamification concept into the regular teaching activity I mentioned earlier. The first one, I integrate the goal setting, milestone setting in the warm-up stage. Like every week, the first day, the first class that we meet students, we will allow students to set their goals or milestone. What are they going to achieve or complete in this lesson or this week or this month or this semester, anything in the warm-up stage. So you will see that we use one element of the gamification, that is the goal setting, all right? So in the presentation stage, practice stage, and production stage, we integrate the competition environment and score collecting system in this process. So when students do the activity, when students practice their languages in through the exercise, when they do some work group project with their friend, they can collect points, and they can get extra point if they can achieve any task, any project that have been assigned to them. And the last one, in the wrap up stage, I apply the level system. It means that each student will have their own level, starting from the lowest level to the highest level according to their score. I will show the example later. I apply badges in the wrap-up stage as well. Because at the end of the lesson, at the end of the week, I as a teacher will show them their levels of that week, their score, their total score, their badges that they have got in that week, that lesson. We also apply leaderboard as well to show them to show their ranking each week, and we also award students as well. So this slide I'm going to share with you. Would love you to see the big picture of how I integrate gamification concept in the normal teaching. So in the normal teaching, regular teaching on your left-hand side may be different from my approach. No worry, but just forget how I apply the gamification concept. All right. So let's get started. These are the best practice or my experience in applying gamification concept in my classroom. How? I teach students normally like a 2W3P I mentioned earlier, right? But I have created a website. Actually, I just use the Google site. Very easy to me, I think. I create a website, and in the website is the gamification website. So every student is student of mine will have their own profile page on the Google site that I have created. I mean, in my classroom, I have around 35 students, for example. these 35 students will have their own profile page, allowing them to choose their profile picture, allowing them to choose their nickname. And at the same time, on this profile page of the student, there will be a status of the student, like showing their level, their current level, showing their points that they have collect, and showing their badges that they have got. So each student will have their own like this profile page, and it will be updated every week, every month. So one of the impressive experience that I have got in while using the gamification concept in my classroom is that many of my students uh, go to my website, this website every week, and they capture their own profile page skin and they share on their Instagram story, their Facebook post, and they have fun with sharing their success. So I think this one can help motivate them to be, more fun and interested in learning English. So, like I mentioned, as a teacher, I apply the scoring collecting system, point collecting system as well. So a student can collect their points, their extra point in every task, every activity that they engage in. So you may see that why my students have a lot of score points, right? Like 5,000, 3,000, 1,000, right? I will tell you. This one, I have applied the level system as well. Like I mentioned earlier, each student will have their own profile page on my Google site, right? And each student will have their own level, starting from the lowest one, the silver one, right? Your left-hand side, and the grandmaster second on your right-hand side. So I would like to say that I have 15 levels for students to achieve. And the points from the real points of grading. So when I apply the gamification concept in my classroom, students will have two types of score and points, two types of points. The first type of point is the actual points that I use in the real grading system of the school. Okay, the first one, the full score of the first one is 100 points, all right, in the grading system of the school. And the second type of the score is the gamification score. So I transfer the one actual score in grading school system into 60 points in gamification score. That means if the real classroom is the real world student have 1 point in grading system, they will have 60 points in gamification website. Okay, is the thing that wow students a lot, because when they go to their profile page on the gamification website, they can see, oh, I have got 200 points, I have got 1,000 points, but actually it is from the real points. One real point in grading system equals 60 points in gamification. So this 15th level will change according to their to the students' points at that time. If they have around 200 points, they can get silver one on their profile page. If they can reach to the 6,000 points, that means they got 100 points in grading system of the school, right? They can get the grandmaster the second. So these elements can wow students a lot because they are proud and they want to show their level to other student. The next one is badges. I apply badges in my classroom as well, and I categorize the 19 badges that I use in my classroom to three categories. The first one, I will award the badges on their profile page when they achieve something related to their knowledge improvement or knowledge success or achievement. The second one, I will award this kind of badge when they achieve something related to their practice, improvement to their skill, successful to their skill improvement. And the last one, attitude. I will award these badges when they can do something related to their attitude aspect. So these 19 badges have lots of details, so I cannot inform or share with all of you at this time because I have a limited time. But those who are interested in these details or would like me to share this material, this icon, so that you can use in your classroom easily. So I'm happy to share with you. You can direct message to me or email me later. So these are example of 19 badges that I apply to award students when they have succeed any kind of activity and task that they have assigned to them. All right. Another one, mission. When I apply the gamification concept in my classroom, I will have a mission to students. Basically, it's their homework or their work, but to make it more challenging, make it more interesting to students, make it more motivating, I will call mission instead of homework, so the student will be motivated. They will be more likely to do the mission rather than doing their homework. So just change the word. Just change the word. And I also apply the leaderboard as well. For me, I will announce the tops of week every week so that I will let students to know their ranking every week, right? And they will be given the badges as well on their profile page when they can be at the first prize. We can get the second prize, the third prize as shown on the screen. So I'm going to go through the rest of my slide very quickly. All right. And suggestion from me, if you would like to apply the gamification concept and you found out that yourself is not good at creating website like myself, I would suggest this one, the tool, the Class Dojo application. You can use it and you can do everything that I do in my website very easy, like points, extra points to student badges, milestone ranking student. You can do it very easily. I think one of you have seen this one as well. And if you want to apply gamification, but you are still like to do it by using a paper base, you can still do the gamification step by using this paper base as well. You can create the paper based leaderboard, update every week, put your student name on the paper based leaderboard, things like that. So I think by doing so, students can be motivated, can be encouraged to learn and to achieve any task that I assign to them. And I want to share that according to my research findings, gamification concept can help improve, can help enhance my student learning achievement, as well as enhance their motivation in learning my lesson as well. So if there anyone would like to use my material that I have shown earlier, you can contact me later. So I am happy to share with all of you to facilitate you, to assist you to apply gamification in your classroom as well. So we will have a Q&A section later. All right. If you have a question, you can ask me later in the next section. So I think that's all for today. My name is Saharat Laksanasut from Thailand. Happy to meet all of you today, and I hope that we will have more teacher educator who apply the gamification concept in their classroom to motivate students and to enhance their learning achievement and motivation. Thank you very much. ขอบพระคุณครับ
Thank you, Mr. Laksana Sud. Okay, from this presentation, it can be concluded that Mr. Laksana Sud's research and practical experience prove that gamification can be a great method to motivate students to learn English. Educators can utilize the motivational aspect of gamification, such as with some elements, to create an engaging and immersive learning experience for students. Thank you very much, Mr. Laksana Sud. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoy this amazing presentation. Now, I guess the second speaker, Mr. Akib Alfi, is already prepared to start the presentation. Are you still with us, Mr. Alfi?
Yes. Let me share
Okay,
my
thank you.
screen.
Yeah, Mr. Alfie will present about Metaverse as a key new technology. Before the presentation begin, I would like to introduce Mr. Akib Alfie. He leads sustainability initiative at Sustainable Living Lab. The website is sustainablelivinglab.org, a company pioneering sustainability as a service solution, digital scaling, and community initiative working with private, public, and people sectors. They leverage their expertise in AI and data to drive impactful solutions for sustainability goals defined by SDGs. SL2 champions industry-wide collaboration in AI scaling for sustainability, actively advocating for the development of skilled professionals crucial for integrating these technologies for SDGs. Additionally, their experience includes overcoming challenges in data accessibility and fostering collaboration, all while ensuring transparency and accountability through AI-driven progress monitoring and clear sustainability reporting. Please welcome Mr. Akib Alfi. The time is yours.
Thank you so much. Just give me a moment. Okay, great. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for a great introduction. I think in a summary, so I'm a sustainability consultant. We work on sustainable development goals by United Nations. So there are 17 sustainable development goals. And of course, sustainability involves every sector, every job, every industry out there. And hence we are very much relevant, especially in the day and age where we need to do a lot more. We're already lacking behind in terms of sustainability for the planet Earth, and we need solutions now, right? So we work on sustainability, and then most importantly in education, sustainable development goal number 4, education. So that's been my passion, and that's been like me trying to understand why we do things in a certain way. And I think this is a very important topic of today that you have all come up towards that, to understand why gamification is important, right? So I think before I get started, right, so I just wanted to show some GIFs, right? So this is us, no matter which grade, no matter which age we are in, right? In a school setting, this is who we are. So we are sleepy, we are unbothered, we are tired. All of those things kind of really not allow us to learn, right? It's not a good, fruitful environment for us to make that happen, right? And as we see, right, so of course, I mean, with data itself, right, so all these kind of reports always showcase where we lack. 67% of students report feeling bored in the class. So if you have a class of 100 students, 67 of those are sleepy, they are bored, right? So it's, and then of course we pushed it back to the teacher. No, teacher needs to kind of make it interesting and engaging. Yes, that's one aspect of it, but there is a classroom, there is an infrastructure, there is a whole curriculum that needs to be developed appropriately. Then of course, beyond school, proper rest needs to be given. Students need to be engaged and excited and everything else. So it's a whole new system that we need to work with, right? And similarly, like 70% of learners forget what they learned within a week, right? So when you're teaching them on a Monday and then you ask them on a Friday, 70% of them wouldn't even remember what they learned, right? So how do we make sure that they are learning? How do we make sure that they are doing an interesting parts of their daily work itself, right? And that's kind of key as well towards going beyond our traditional sense, right? And I think the way I got interested in it was mostly for the similar fact. When you are a 4-year-old till 8-year-old, you wake up and you really, really, really want to go to school because school is the most fun place happening, right? So you really want to learn, you really want to engage. But as soon as you go beyond 8-year-old or your primary 2, then you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't want to go to school. Oh, there's gonna be homework. Oh, this and that, right? So you already start getting bored, and then we as human beings, we're like, no, learning should be fun. You should love to learn, which we do that, but for whatever reasons, right, the way we have structured our classrooms, our education systems, we start getting towards bored and this kind of resilient feeling that okay, no, and this resistance, sorry, that we don't want to go to school, and like it's just boring. We don't want to do that, right? So that's where I was always interested, like, okay, how do we bring that same passion back into learning? I love learning all about different things, but as soon as you start putting me into like very organized structured learning, like okay, wake up at 8 a.m. for a particular class, I'm like, oh, this is something I don't want to be doing, right? So everybody has their own learning needs, and that's where the new technology comes in. And thank you so much for Mr. Sahara to share about gamification and how impressive stuff that he's doing in his classrooms, right? It takes technology to make it work, Google Sites to make it work. And there's so many other tools now, and as he was sharing new technologies out there, that you can actually just start using it right away to make it fun and engaging learning, right? So and that helps me, okay, set up the baseline that okay, you all understand what gamification is, thanks to Mr. Sahara, right? But what more can be done? Right? What are the new technologies out there, right? And that brings me to metaverse, right? So beyond AI, of course, AI is there for the past 5-7 years already. AI is integrated into all these technologies that you look at, your Google sites, your class dojos, your learning mechanisms, LMS, learning management systems, and everything else out there. And similarly, metaverse as well. So now we see beyond what AI could come in, right? And we see into the next 3 year, 4 year down the line, and we see like, okay, how or what technology is going to be very critical now, so that we train the students today, right? I think the problem with education that we generally face is the fact that we train them on the jobs of today. Like, oh, go and become an engineer, or go and become a doctor. But that doctor of today versus a doctor 10 years later would be so much different, right? Their daily tasks would be so much different. The tools they use would be so much different. But we don't train our students for that. We train them, okay, as a high school student, when you graduate, this is what a doctor looks like. Not necessarily, because they're going to go do the high school, then they go to college, university education. So they still have a 4 to 6 year journey until they become eligible to be a doctor, right? And then 6 years have passed already, and they're like, oh wow, this is entirely different now altogether, right? And then we don't upgrade our education content and needs as well. And that's where metaverse comes in. So by 2030, we see so much spending on it. And the company Meta, Facebook parent company, so they've invested bazillions of dollars into it already. They have structured their own entire workforce around this, that okay, we're going to be focusing entirely on metaverse. And that kind of gives us to the moment that okay, why is metaverse important, and hence we need to be able to incorporate it. And today what I'll do is I'll try to kind of talk through metaverse and some simpler use cases as well, and how you can involve them. Of course, it does require a lot of technology support, a lot of tech support, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of skill sets and skill training as well, right? And that's where we can kind of really figure out how best we can utilize the technology. And again, the point is not to incorporate technology today, right? You can start from where Mr. Sahara started off from and see the pathway to where you can engage this technology towards that. And similarly, I think talking about gamification as well, right? Why is gamification important in education? You see the learning market by 2030 is going to be massive. We have short spans. We love gaming. Everybody loves to compete. All of those things kind of bring things together and then enhance like, okay, why don't we do this over here as well? How can a child keep on playing Minecraft, or any other game, right, for hours, but you give him a book and then he's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, right? So we know this is a problem. We know what gets students interested, but for whatever reason, we just don't want to get there, right? And thankfully, technologies of today allow us to do that, and that's where we are at today. So quickly, kind of summarizing metaverse, right? And that's going to be my core part of the talk or speech over here today, right? In terms of what metaverse can do for us, right? So of course, in a very quick summary, right? So it can benefit for the virtual exploration. You don't have to take your 100 kids, and I know I've been working with school systems for 14 years of my life, right? So that's where I kind of feel for the teachers. They don't have the time. And on top of that, they need to plan the trip, the road trip, get the parents to pay for it. If not, okay, who hasn't paid for it, organize it, administration parts of it, and then making sure it's all safe and a learning experience when they go for any particular visit, right? But now you can have these 100, 200 students sitting down in the classroom, putting on cheap goggles. You can get Google VR sets for like, I think $3 now. They're even cheaper. You can make it yourself as well now using cardboard and some materials off the shops that you can buy, right? And then you can give them the entire experience early. And then you can still take them again. The whole point that technology is not taking away the reality of it. No, the point is, how do you enhance an experience using technology, right? And that's where the key is. Technology is not taking away the actual thing. Technology is helping you, support you. And that's where you need to kind of look at the technology angle as well. Right? The other part is practical skills, right? And this is what we see in workforce today. You need workforces from so different parts of the region. How do you train them? In Singapore setting, okay, I have a factory there. I want to get my workforce from Indonesia, India, Vietnam, wherever, right? I generally now what we do is we bring them over, we select them, we do interviews and all, we select them, bring them over, and then train them. So that means I have to spend a lot of time training them, which means they're not actually working for the factory until they are ready in 2-3 months of their training time, right? And that's where like my factory does what then? Okay, pause on it, right? So there's a lot of money being spent just training on them, and this kind of VR metaverse kind of exposure, you can give it back to the when they're in their home country, get them trained, and then do a test so that when they're flying over, they're ready. They know what they're doing as well, right? And that kind of always helps and support as well along the way. And similarly, of course, the most important part, we talk so much about diversity and accessibility, right? We need to make education as much diverse and accessible as much as possible, right? If you don't have internet connections, if you don't have technology, and then similarly, if you are a special needs person, so you need to be able to still gain the same level of education that others are getting, right? If you're sadly on a wheelchair and your school has steps on it, right? You're like, hey, why do you have steps? Why are you not making it accessible for this particular student as well, right? So it should be an accessible playground, and metaverse allows you to do that, right? You can be flying into space versus you can be doing deep dive into atoms and molecules as well to really understand, and it brings education accessible and diverse for everybody, right? And of course, the most important part is you get global collaboration, right? We don't have the comment, or we can't make an excuse that, oh no, we are in Indonesia, it's very expensive to go travel to Singapore and understand that. I can bring Singapore to you, right? I can bring New York to yourself, and London, and everywhere else that you would want to go. You can be there and understand. So it kind of creates a very playing leveling field as well. So now I'm going to go towards some of the use cases as well, right? And so basically to showcase how virtual trips in the metaverse can allow students to explore different places and concepts that are otherwise inaccessible, but offer you rich and immersive educational experiences. So I've got some use cases, right? So first one would be the virtual field trips, right? So again, this whole planning of the field trip itself is daunting. You need to get the students ready. You need to get permission from the parents. You need to get funding for it. You need to get approval from the school. Then on top of that, you need to get safety and security. Then you need to take the students together with you, make sure they have the right food and setups and get-ups and everything, travel there and back and forth and everything in between, right? So now you can actually have that virtual rainforest experiences using VR technology, right? And similarly, a museum exploration, you want to see natural museum in US, you can go and do that today. Those VR is available today, right? YouTube is amazing. You can have 3D and VR experiences through those already. Go ahead and do that, and you understand, okay, where you are lacking in terms of your museum experience and what more your students can learn along the way. And similarly, in a book, right? So books of past, of course, black and white. I mean, I love it, not to say, but the point is, how much more can we immerse ourselves into it, right? And the point is like, okay, you can create those books with immersive media as well, create that understanding. And we see these immersive booklets for toddlers all the way to high schoolers, all the way to university participants as well. It kind of brings out the exposures. You can move things around, you can experience it and make it more experiential. Then we talk about history. I'm not sure about yourself, but at least from my own personal data points, right? History has always been the most boring subject. How do you teach history, right? Like, oh, something happened in 1900, oh, something happened in 1700. Students like, so what? Like, why does it concern me, right? Like, what's it going to do to me? But now you can actually understand why those things happen, and you can bring them down, scale them down all the way in terms of today. How all of the things that happen in 1 AD or before BC itself, all the way, right? And how they are actually allowing us to where we are at today. And you can actually be part of those cultural and historical learning environments as well, right? So for example, Assassin's Creed. So while playing Assassin's Creed, it's a popular game itself, right? They have those tours within Assassin's Creed that you can actually follow. Again, non-combatant, they're not fighting or hitting anybody for that matter. It's a non-combat game mode, but you can actually go to ancient history, participate. So there's a person who you need to follow. They will teach you. So you're having this entire experience while playing a game, right? You were going to play the game regardless, right? So now you're at least learning from it, right? So this kind of guided by this non-playable character, right? Non-person character, you can actually learn the ancient history of the past, right? And that allows you to really immerse yourself in and see like, okay, how do people walk? They took horses, and how do people farm? What are their issues, clothing and everything? And then you can have that kind of really immersive educational debate and discussions. Me being a very science person, I love the 2.0 science lab where we are headed towards that, because science, again, like you need to understand what are the different body parts, how they connected and all. Again, you see those images in the booklet, you can see videos of it, but then you still cannot really understand like how critical or difficult those things are actually. So you see these medical VR toolkits, which are like actually being used for medical doctors today, right? And then you have surgeon simulators. It's like a surgeon simulators are, there are tons of games online that you can actually play, right? Again, they are gamified version of it, but at least you learn with how all these things work in a parts of different body, right? And similarly, you have deep sea exploration. You know, we can't go all the way down to Mariana Trench, right? It's crazy, dangerous, and everything, and costly, right? But now you can actually go down, have your own experiences, and then really understand where the lights are, where the sunlight can go in, and then what happens when there is no sunlight. What happened to those part of species within the deep sea itself, right? And most importantly, when we talk about atoms and molecules, right? How are they connected? How do you feel them? How do you make them work around it, right? So those things are very important for us to have those deep dive in and really understand the intricacies of how things work, right? And this really kind of opens up the mind, like when you're starting visualizing in your head, then you're like, oh yeah, this is how these things work. Hydrogen and oxygen molecules, how do they interact with each other? How do they work in a liquid, in a solid, and all of the states that you come up with, right? All of those kind of discussions really help you. On that note, right? So we have Minecraft as well. So amazing work, right? So Minecraft for at least primary schoolers play massively, right? And what we've seen there, like people have actually created Minecraft environments altogether. And I'll show you some of the videos later on as well. So I was talking about practical experiences, right? How it's very important for workforce setting, at least, how it's important for internship experience as well, right? Because the students of today, right, they want to become doctors, they want to become engineers, they want to do all of these things, right? But the problem is we are unable to show them what it's really like, right? You can talk to professionals in the workforce, right? They'll always paint their beautiful story, but you don't get to have that beautiful days every day, right? I mean, I'm sure people who are working right now, if they're listening, right, as teachers as well, you don't have great days every day, right? You have great days, those are limited, but you have good days, and then you also have bad days as well, right? So it all comes together, but you cannot have that experience and exposure. You cannot tell the students because you don't want to scare them away from a particular field altogether, right? But the whole point is like, okay, we want to get them as much real experience as possible. And again, the VR and metaverse can really give you the virtual tour. You can go and see the production process altogether, what happens in an oil refinery. You can go there and really see for yourself what it is and what it's not, because as a public, you can't just go barge into a power plant and see what is happening, right? And similarly, you can also like train your own staff uh, in terms of safety protocols. What happens if there's fire? What happens if there is rain or flood or something broken, right? How do you fix those? And you can actually have those safety trainings which can help you. Similarly, in a hospital setting, right? You want to do hospital rounds. You can do a virtual version of it to really understand to optimize it as well. And you can check during COVID, for example, there was a lot of metaverse experiences being shared because you can only have one entry and exit, right? So what happens if there is an emergency? Everybody going through one particular door, is that a good way? Or do they have different doors? How could you reach to a particular patient faster? So all of that thing was happening during COVID at least, right? And that's kind of very important. So I have a quick video. It may be too loud. I hope it's not too loud. But this one is on virtual events, right? So now, for example, this event itself, it's a Zoom recording and all, but then I can't see everybody else as well, right? I see some YouTube comments floating around. So that's that's amazing. But then it's still like far from the actual experience that I would want to. I want to see people giving me sad, slow, lazy faces. And then I can say, like, okay, no, I need to up my energy. I need to talk about something exciting, right? But I can't do that. So I'm assuming everybody's listening, right? But this video is going to start you up anyways, wake you up anyways. So this is actually a concert. So this was done on Fortnite. I'm just going to show some of it. So in a fortnight, like you can have real concerts over here as well, right? And what this means is like your Taylor Swift is flying around the region, but you cannot fly around horse and everything else is there, right? Tickets booked up already. But these kind of experience really put you in. And again, it's Fortnite. You're already playing it. You go and gather as a team, as a community over there to have an amazing concert all together, right? So all of these things kind of like really portrays that, metaverse is not just a small thing that you do in a classroom. It's more about how do you use the technology to really gamify the entire ecosystem around yourself. So talking about another part of and again, we're very amazing as an engineer, right? How things actually work, right? So how do engines work? How do motors work and everything, right? So you can have these interactive 3D models. You can walk around them. You can go inside them to see those tiny things that are working, that are very important for jet engines, for example, right? Formula One cars and everything. You can actually go and see how each and everything works. And can really help you understand in detail how these things are kind of really putting an emphasis on the learning part of it so that you can really have the full experience rather than I show you different schools and all versus like, okay, where does it go? How does it work? And what would happen if something goes wrong in that particular element as well? So these are all data-driven educational insights, and this brings it all back to AI and data itself, right? So you have all your experiences, but what does it mean for us? So you have real-time feedback. Why are students spending a lot more time, or why are these two kids spending a lot of time on an engine versus going all the way inside, looking at tiny details of it, right? Or some of the students just looking from outside, looking at it elsewhere, right? So you can actually see like, okay, some kids are interested in engineering part of it. Some kids are interested in the process parts of it. Some kids are not interested in it altogether, right? And you can see that like when you put them in that particular environment, and that gives you those ideas like, okay, how do I engage them? What kind of questions should I ask them? Or also see like, okay, hey, how come these kids are not really participating? Because if you have 30 kids in a classroom, same book and all, the teacher said, right, you're just giving them, and now you need to give them tests, and those test scores are going to tell you later on, right? But this way, you can actually have in understandings as well. And you can also follow Sahara's guidelines in terms of you can have your milestones over there, you can have gamify system, you can have points, you go to a particular place, do a quick MCQ, whoever does it faster, you can create an amazing race out of it, so whatever that can work to make it work, you got to make it work, right? And similarly, you have predictive analysis as well. You can figure out who will learn better in what environments as well. You can have specialized evidence-based adjustments to the lesson itself. And you can have separate environments for separate students altogether so that they learn better. And that kind of brings it all back to the same point that, all students are different. All individuals are different. We try to put 30 kids in one classroom, assuming they should all do the same thing. They should all be at the same level. But that's never the case. They're all different in their own aspects, right? And that's what we want to cultivate, that, this gamified system, this AI systems, or this, metaverse systems, they should actually help you with creating personalized learning journeys as much as possible. So we want to look at the metaverse classroom altogether, right? So engage students in immersive and interactive experiences. Ditch the textbook, say hello to virtual environments, solve mysteries, build those bridges and explore the universe altogether, right? Just by sitting in your chairs, right? And of course, get ready for the future where education should be anything but boring, right? That should be the goal of it. There are tons of tools out there which should really work for it. Sorry.
You have 1 minute left.
Yes, perfect. That's good. So I think I just want to show some quick videos again, 30 seconds, and I'm done.
This is myoglobin, and this is responsible for carrying oxygen around your muscles.
So this is a protein molecule inside your blood,
alpha helices,
and it shows you the
things I'm flying down.
The protein structure of it,
and then the protein like no other molecular visualization software lets you do. Now, the other thing myoglobin here that's interesting is this structure in the center of the molecule.
See there's one iron molecule all the way in the middle.
Very center of the heme is
going to have to make the Earth and all the other tiny planets nearly 700,000 times.
Sorry, can you see my screen still? Let me just. So this is like last 30 seconds video. So
ride with me into the metaverse on Are We There Yet? All your burning questions about the metaverse, answer. How do you describe the metaverse to someone that has no clue what it's about?
How big of an idea can you imagine?
I've never scoped it in a car.
We can feel like we are there with other people. Watch the road.
Some of these creatures are, so that one's called Grimble Frap.
I love that. Have you been looking at the navigation system? Because I have no idea where we're going.
I think it says something over there. I don't know.
You can have every experience in a single place, right? And that's where I would want to end. And this is all a Meta's own video, and you can watch their entire series of videos. It's amazing to show where we are headed towards us. So thank you so much, and stay connected if you need more details, anything else, connect me on LinkedIn, and I would love to discuss anything and everything on education. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Alfie. Mr. Alfie explained that metaverse technology cannot only enhance learning and increase student engagement, but also make education more accessible, such as utilizing virtual labs, internship, and field trip. The metaverse provides a highly engaging and sophisticated learning experience. Thank you for insight, Mr. Alfie. Okay, I just want to remind the participants that if you have any question, please write it down on the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, are you still with us? We still have 2 more speakers who will share their knowledge with us. Next presentation, I would like to welcome the 3rd speaker, Dr. Vinita Dewi. I can feel that she is excited to share about playing smart, navigating gamification, pedagogical challenges. But before that, let me introduce her first video, ladies and gentlemen. She is an English lecturer of Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, UPI, Purwakarta Regional Campus. She holds a doctorate in English education, specializing in education technology and teacher professional development. She has extensive teaching experience and has been working in partnership with national, regional, and international institutions as a teacher trainer. Throughout her career, she has been invited to speak at numerous seminars, webinars, conferences, workshops, and stadium general events. She also served as the secretary of UPI's Quality Insurance Unit, in charge of national and international accreditation of study program, as well as internal quality audits. Aside from that, she is also the director of teaching professional development at the Indonesia Technology Enhanced Language Learning Association, ITEL. She is responsible for planning, developing, and organizing technology-focused teacher professional development programs for teachers throughout Indonesia. Her passion also lies in educational technology, the development of online learning materials, and instruction design. Dr. Finita, the times is yours.
Thank you very much, Ibu Sinta, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm also would like to greet everyone in the YouTube channel watching us right now. I see that there are at least 145 participants joining us in YouTube. So my presentation today will be about playing smart, navigating gamifications, pedagogical challenges. And after watching the two previous presenters, it's very interesting to see how we look at different gamification from different point of view. My presentation will be a lot. Will there be a lot of intersection with Mr. Zaharat's presentation at the beginning? So I might need to skip some part of my presentation later and focusing on the pedagogical challenges that we need to consider when we are trying to implement gamification in the classroom. So while expecting you in YouTube to respond to my presentation, I would like to ask you whether you have an experience in doing gamification in your classroom or not. So maybe you can give an icon or just mention that if you are an expert, right, you're an expert in the comment of YouTube, or if you think that you know a little bit, but you're still a newbie, then you can write, I'm a newbie there. Or if you know nothing about gamification, you can give a thumbs down, or I know nothing about gamification, just to have a quick survey on how popular gamification is among educators, the participants joining the webinar today. Because I think gamification has been around for some years. People know gamification already, and I believe that many of you have tried using gamification in the classroom. Okay, keep typing in a YouTube comment, and I'll get back to you later. Yeah. Jarek mentioned that you did gamification already. Imal mentioned that you are a newbie. Ita Rosita give a thumbs down. Okay, keep responding. So to review what Mr. Zaharat mentioned about gamification, for you to remember, gamification is not a game. So when you see the word gamification, well, it's actually not a game. The director of Simulak mentioned about this too, that gamification refers to use of design element characteristics for games in non-game context. So we are looking at a non-games context, and we are trying to add some elements of gamification into the teaching and learning process. That's the idea of gamification. It's actually originated from the digital marketing. It's not originated from educational setting. Maybe you have an experience of when you are ordering a hotel, for example, you get points. You book a ticket for airplane tickets, then you get the points, or you get the reward from buying a coffee, or you get points from transferring money from one bank to another account. So that's actually the origination of gamification. Get level, points, rewards. You will be labeled as a loyal customer. You will have a gold level, green level, whatsoever. That's the idea of gamification. Thank you for responding. YouTube, many thumbs up, some are thumb down, some other are newbie. It's good to know where you are at the moment. Mr. Zaharat also mentioned the difference between gamification and game-based learning. Later, you can access my slides, so I'm going to skip this part. I will focus on the buzzword. We've been discussing this all this time, the buzzword, the promises of gamification. First thing first, it is mentioned that gamification enhance participation and engagement. Yes, by giving our students points, by showing them the leaderboards, by giving them some badges, it will enhance their participation. And somehow teachers will transform the traditional learning into activities which are challenging. Like Mr. Zaharat mentioned that, don't mention homework, say it as a mission. So it's more challenging for the students. They hate homework, but they love challenges or mission. It also improves motivation and memory retention for the students. It can boost their motivation by joining in an engaging gamification learning. And also, through gamification, some parts of the game will provide a kind of instant feedback or self-assessment, whether they're answering things true or not, whether they're ready to go to the next level, unlocking the new challenges, and so on and so forth. So that's the buzzword of gamification. Later, we are going to talk about the other side of gamification. Why do we think that gamification have such promises? It's been mentioned previously that we have leaderboard, point, and so on. So we have some different kinds of level in games element. The service levels is something related to point system, badges, and leaderboard. This is something that we usually promise our student in an instant way. Okay, if you answer this, you will get point. If you finish this mission, you will get badges. If you are in the top position, you will be shown in the top 5 leaderboard or top 3 leaderboards. That's the service element. But actually, the underlying element of the gamification that we as educators need to put into consideration are this. For example, the narrative, the story behind the gamified learning. Maybe we can have the mission. We put stories, the narrative story into the mission, give them characters, give them different roles. And then another thing is feedback. I mentioned before that by doing gamification, they will have instant feedback, whether they are choosing the right way or not, whether their answer is right or not, whether they are ready to unlock the next challenges or not. So it goes to the next things is progression. Through gamification, students can see the progress of their learning. They can see in which position they are now and where they are going to, what they are aiming to, the objective of their learning. Maybe the objective of the mission of gamification will be seen differently with the objective of learning set by the educators. Educators doesn't need to show the real objective of learning, but we can show the path of learning where the students can achieve or reach the objective that we set. And then another thing is freedom to fail. In the traditional learning, when we fail, when we make a mistake, then we'll get bad score. But in gamification, when we fail, we can get back and redo the things and join back into the game. And we also have choices. Usually in gamification, teachers will give different kind of choices. Students can have different ways of achieving their learning outcomes. So that's the underlying factors that we have in gamification. Another thing that we can see in game elements is the experience. The experience in gamification. They have challenges, they have a sense of competition and also enjoyment while having the journey of learning. That's why gamification promises a lot of things, a lot of positive things for our students, and of course, transform traditional learning into a more transformative, dynamic, innovative learning experience. This is what I mentioned about giving freedom for students to fail. And in gamification, everyone starts from zero. Everyone starts from the 0 point. And then they can level up their points, their level based on their capacities. They can choose different ways of reaching their goals, but everyone is progressing. So start from zero. They have the chance to restart their learning, and then everyone is progressing based on their own capacity, learning pace, and learning enjoyment. So after discussing the promises that we have in regards to gamification, let's pay a little bit attention on the dark side of gamification? Well, of course, there are things that we need to consider when we apply those games elements in our learning. So these are the four dark side among many that I took from some studies. And the first one is overemphasis on competition. Yes, competition is good. Competition can enhance students' motivation, but then if they pay attention too much on the leaderboard or try to increase their point, they might be overstressed, or it might reduce their enjoyment. And also creating competitive rather than collaborative atmosphere that may not suit all educational contexts. It doesn't mean that gamification, I demotivate you for using gamification, but we need to pay attention to when do we need to put the competition, sense of competition to our students, but then maybe in some phases of the learning, we also need to inject some sense of collaboration for the students. Another thing that we need to consider is reduction in intrinsic motivation, because there is an excessive reward like badges or point. It might distract from the learning process itself, and they rely so much on how to get the points, how to be the leaders, not the intrinsic motivation of learning the context that we are trying to achieve. Another thing is inequality or bias. Some students might be well informed or very familiar with concept of gamification because they play games outside the learning context, but for some other, the concept of gamification is something new. So this might provide inequality or bias among the students. So we need to know in which position, in which situation our students are familiar with the gamification concept, and make sure that they understand the rules of the game, how to get the points, how to earn badges, and so on and so forth. Another thing which is considered as the dark side of gamification is the superficial learning. So there is a risk of students focusing more on gamified reward than on the deep learning. This might lead to the superficial engagement with the material, especially when gamification is poorly aligned with educational objective. So some people, maybe those who are new to gamification, put a lot of attention on giving rewards, badges, and then forget the educational objective and pedagogical consideration for doing gamification. That's just the dark side of gamification, but let's get back to the spirit of introducing gamification in our classroom. If Mr. Saharat give explanation on how to embed gamification in the learning process, I think it's for the whole semester, it's for the whole class. I believe that it takes a huge effort to plan it, to make sure that everything's the rules runs well, students understand how to play the game and how to earn badges, the leaderboard, and so on. What I'm trying to introduce here is for those who are new to gamification, maybe you can start with something small, like some ways to gamify your lesson. You can insert digitizing quiz in your lesson, or some activities related to unlocking content, or setting different level of difficulties to your students, or giving rewards or badges at the end of some activities. This might not be the complete or the perfect, the sophisticated ways of using gamification, but this can be an alternative for you who want to start trying to integrate gamification into your learning process. So when digitizing quizzes, I believe that some of you are familiar with some of these tools. Quizzes is well known and been around for some times. Also Kahoot in Indonesia, Kahoot is very popular among teachers, and it has been students' favorite as well as teachers' favorite. There is also word wall, flippity, and booklet. all of them are tools to digitize quizzes. You will have different kinds of interface, you will see different kinds of interactivity, but the basic foundation of these tools are to digitize your quiz. Another thing is unlocking content, or it is famous with the term escape room. So in this escape room, you can ask your students to have a mission, to try a mission, and then try to unlock from one task to another, from one mission to another, from one level to another. This is just a super simple escape room that I created in January. Let's start. Okay, let's just see whether we can try it on. Okay, I will click start here. Let's see this. There should be a sound here. I'll make sure that I share the sound. Okay, hopefully you can hear the sound. So there is a mission that you want to be a witchcraft, and then to be a witchcraft, you should have a potion, a prophecy, an enhancement, and a fly. Then you should start with the potion. And this is the recipe of the potion. Choose the correct potion if you don't want something to go wrong, and then taste the potion. So these are the questions. The question is about gamification. Gamification is the use of games in the classroom. Training. Room 2, is it assign classroom chores, grow friendship, resolve interpersonal disputes, or aid learning? Let's just try one. If I make a wrong choices, then I will get a potion. But maybe if, let's see, if I choose the right one, I can get the right potion, and I can continue to the next question. So now I have the potion, the right potion. Then I will go to the next mission, the prophecy, and then this is the key purpose of gamification, the questions, and I have to answer. I will keep doing this. So to be able to unlock the next question, I have to get the right answer. This is what I mentioned as leveling up, and also this is related to instant feedback. Okay, so this is very easy. Another thing that I use for gamification in the classroom using escape game. Also, I created it using Genially. You can use the free Genially. This is a kitchen nightmare. Maybe anyone recognize this person, Gordon Ramsay. So your mission is to beat the challenge from Gordon Ramsay. And then I will ask my students to click the menu here, and they will have the menu: starter, main course, dessert, drink, and then billing. They cannot jump from one menu to another, but they have to complete it one by one. Okay, let's start with the starter. This is very easy. This is for basic level students in English. So starter, your first challenge is to find the right objects in garden kitchen. And then I will click this. And then there is one question: where is the saucepan? I will click this. The wine glass, click this. And then where is the whisk? If I make a wrong choice like this, and there you go, but I can try again and then go back to starter, and so on and so forth. To go from one level to another, I have to unlock, I have to finish this. I have to finish starter, then I can go to main course. I have to finish main course, then I go to dessert, and so on and so forth. So that's unlock the level of difficulties. The level of difficulties is stages from the easiest to the most difficult. So the last part is the most difficult. Later, you can access my slide and try it out by yourself, because I wouldn't have time to give demonstration to these features one by one. The next one is setting level of difficulties. So this is another game that I created using Genially. It's about superheroes, and what the students need to do is to collect 10 points to finish this challenge. And then in the challenge, I have put some points like this. For example, if they answer the first box, they will get 3 points. And these are the instruction. And then if they want to get more point, maybe they will have to pick something more difficult. Like this one, they will have to answer, and they will get 7 points to answer these questions. They will have to search for some information about the superhero and then make comparison, record a video of them explaining their superhero, and then they post it in another website. So these task about comparison is much more difficult than the task about costume. In the task about costume, students only need to upload a picture and make a description. But in the second, they need to record a video. What if the students keep choosing the easy choices? No, they are not going to get 10 points. To get 10 points, they have to choose one easy choice and one more difficult choice. So we try to give them choices to complete in their challenge, but then we also look at the objective of our lesson. The objective of our lesson is actually ask them to describe something using written expression and also oral expression. But we don't need to mention our goals to our students. We just need to mention the goal of the game to our students. That's why gamification might be much more interesting and challenging, because they think that I'm not actually learning something. I'm actually finishing this game challenge. Okay. The examples of unlocking or escape games that you can create it using generally. And also at the end of some mission, you can give your students reward or badges. You can create reward or badges using Canva or some other application for badges generator. All right, this is the last part of my presentation. I'm going to focus on some pedagogical consideration that we need to have as an educator before we embed gamification in our learning activities. So the thing that we need to do is we need to plan our gamification learning. If you look at Mr. Saharat's presentation, he planned the learning very carefully and beautifully. So actually, this is the part that Mr. Sahara mentioned in his demonstration. When we gamify our classroom, we do the planning. First, we decide part or all. We can have a gamification throughout our lesson or throughout the semester, but we can also have a slices, a chunk of gamification in our learning. So my suggestion, you need to start small. If you are a newbie, you need to start small. You need to focus on what skills or a project that you are going to gamify and try to be consistent. Okay, try to be consistent with your students. Another thing that you need to consider is set challenges or the quest. How are you going to set your challenges or the journey of the learning? Or we usually mention it as a quest in gamification. What is the learning outcome? After they finish one game, after they finish one whole of gamification chunk, what is the learning outcome? Is it a major or a minor task in your gamification? So if you are a newbie, I suggest you to have a gamification as a minor task, not a major task. But if you want to make it more advanced, then you can incorporate your gamification in a longer project. So it's like incorporate an epic meaning on a project-based learning. Another thing, when we've been mentioning about points, you need to decide how students can get the point. Is it an experience point? After they finish one mission, then they get a point. Or is it a point like for behavior or collaboration? If you look at Mr. Saharat's presentation, he mentioned about attitude, I think, or behavior or knowledge. So how are you going to give points to your students? Is it their knowledge? Is it their attitude, their behavior? Or do you have other consideration? And the next thing is this plan, rewards and badges. Besides points, you can also give rewards or badges. How are you going to give the rewards to your students, or how are you going to give your students after they finish reading a textbook? Wow. Or after they finishing one unit, or achieve one skill, or they achieve some kind of progression or special achievement. Here, you can give badges to any achievement that your students have. But please inform your students at the beginning so that they know what to achieve and how to get the badges. The last thing, something simple, it is interesting for gamifying your learning. You can rename, you can change some terminologies in your learning. If you mention your student as student, now in gamification, you can say mention them as a team player. If they have to compete, then you can say player versus player. Or if you want to give score, you can give badges to them. So replace the names of our traditional terminologies into gamified terminologies, and it will also give different kind of sense to our students that, oh, we are in the environment of gamification, not in just a traditional learning process. So I think that's to conclude my presentation. We believe that we teachers are the game designer when we want to integrate gamification in our learning. And before we start to gamify our learning, we need to think critically and implement all the elements thoughtfully, because please bear in mind that even though we know that gamification is good, it's enhanced motivation and so on, there are some dark side of gamification. If you're interested to access my slide, you can take a picture, a screenshot of this, and you can get access to my slide from that link. Thank you very much for joining our presentation, and I give it back to Ibu Sinta. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Vinita. Dr. Vinita explained gamification is not game. Gamification is not game-based learning. They are different things. In short, gamification applies game elements or a game framework to existing learning activities. Game-based learning design learning activities that are intrinsically game-like. The application of gamification in education focusing on its potential to enhance learning as well as the challenges that need to be carefully considered. The gamification can be well integrated into education practices to support rather than detract from real learning outcomes. Thanks for sharing with us, Dr. Vinita. Last but not least, we are going to listen to a presentation from Mrs. Wahyu Widosari Mbayote. She is a permanent lecturer in Sanata Dharma University, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. She belongs to Education College and develop innovation science learning for primary teacher training program. Besides that, she works as Karya Global representative and chief operation for Teman Belajar Karya. She wrote some books as learning enrichment such as Biotechnology is so fun, biology experiment using emancipatory approach, project-based learning, and some more. Right now, she is pursuing her PhD in education at Silliman University, Philippines. I'm glad to welcome Mrs. Wahyu Widosari Mbayote, who will present collaboration in competition and gamification. Mr. Wahyu, the time is yours.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I hope that I'm audible now. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I would like to present by sharing today about the collaboration in competition. As we already hear from inspiring session for three speakers before about gamification and also how to design it in the classroom. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to ask you, what do you think about this? I have two picture in here. What do you think about this? Maybe as we think we talk about gamification, you think that Miss Wahyu will talk about the traditional games, but actually I would like to ask ourselves and reflect it. Uh, why do we like to compete? Um, so do you already get it? Maybe you start thinking since we were very young, maybe in the household, because I really like to explore and teaching and design teaching about the early education, early childhood education. So I usually very familiar with the kids in early age. Uh, they starting compete since they born, right? We not only they, not only our students, but we also when doing reflection and we thought about ourselves in the past. We start to compete since very young in in the household with our siblings, right? And then after that, when we enter the school, what will happen? I'm the product of public school when I was in elementary school, and I still remember that at that time we have ranking in Indonesia. We call it ranking. We have like need to be compete who will become the best in our classroom. So competition it already what is that already introduced to us since we were very small in the school. Usually in public school, if I may say. But um, again, I'm because I'm a biotechnologist, and I would like to ask to ourselves, why do we like to compete? Okay, so the answer actually, when we come back to the biology things, we like to compete because we need to struggle for existence. We need to survive. And oh yes, world is very hard. Every time now we facing the FUCA era, which is every time everything changing and everything become higher and higher, and so much people left behind, and they if they cannot compete they will be very poor, very in Philippines we call it very kawawa, or struggling with their life. And then so always if we already become parents, we tell to our kids, you need to be very clever, you need to get scholarship, you need to be number one in your class so you can get job, you can compete with other classmates, right? But um, after we learn about this world right now that really fluctuative, really easy to change, and for what we learn for our previously speakers, that right now we really exposed with a virtual world that maybe we don't know anymore about who the real them actually. So the idea of competition in Korea, it's we will reducing it, and we will try to promote another word about the competition, as I want to explore today with you. Uh, but before that, I would like to again mention who we are. So actually, Kriya Global, the name before is Kriya.id, but now become Kriya.global because we already collaborating and partnering with all around the world, I guess already. Uh, we are a center of developing creativity and innovation of the youth through collaborative activities. In here, we will emphasize the word collaborative. And in these activities, we want to inspire, create, and dedicate their creations to the society. So we will give back all the things that incubate in us to come back to the society. since we are working in education, media, and professional, we also connecting. Also try to connecting of the young generation as well as cultivating their open-minded to deal the problem, the real problem in the world, in creating innovative ways, and again to dedicate their creation for the society. So this is the working area of Kriya. We connecting education, professional, media, and collaborate with all. Also connecting them with investor, society, and government as well. Then this is that I would like to emphasize this afternoon that we not offer competition anymore, but we are happy to introduce the word competition. So it is a collaboration in the place that usual people call it competition. Just I mentioned to Ma'am Alin this morning that I just arrived from Bangkok, Thailand for our ICAE 2024 in KMUTT, Bangkok, Thailand. This is a kind of competition, but it's not real, not the way that you think about the competition. Because at that time, this program also in line with startup exchange and also workshop for the teachers. So the idea of the competition that we held, we gather all young innovators around the world to exchange their wonderful and genuine project. This is you can go to our website or to our social media ICIA or Kriya to get more information about just happening in Bangkok several days ago until yesterday. And this is our third year about the competition. So I don't want to do presentation very long, but what happened in ICIA as one of it's only one of our work that promoting the competition for the students. So we usually doing it for the first year we're doing it all online, and then the second year and then this year we doing it online and on site. So we have two platforms. The online is around the world because we know that maybe it's very hassle for some country to came to one country that we choose to be to hold to hosting this event. So we're doing it online also. So for the online we have Inventor Wannabe, which is it's a actually not competition, but we try to encourage young innovator uh, to have a dream and to do role playing, to do research about the inventor that they like, and that they doing role playing to become like this inventor that they uh, adore about. So, for example, I like Alexander Graham Bell. So I did research about Alexander Graham Bell, and I'm role playing about to become Alexander Graham Bell. And then in this storytelling, we also encourage them to put what they dream if they are this inventor. This is the competition for a very young age, so usually in the lower primary. And then as it's not not real competition, we do not give them award 1, 2, 3, but we usually give them using awarding like titanium award, golden award, etc. But the point is not how about they win, but later on I will explain how it flowing. And then the second competition we have innovation challenge. Usually in 1 year we in every year we got one challenge that the students need to address. For example, for this year, they need to address about climate change. Yes, because this event actually acknowledged also as one of celebration for World Innovation, International World Creativity Day. So it should be addressed in the SDG as Mr. Ahib before mentioned. So uh, this challenge also usually related to one or two SDG. In this year, the challenge about climate change, and then the students try to make the project that can be in the solution about the climate change. And after they make the project, they will make the prototype and then they will submit to us during where we held it first in regional selection and then in the national selection, and then what happened in Bangkok is the national in international gathering exhibition selection. So this is like the celebration after all the national selection, and they meet in Bangkok to showcase to performance and to exhibit their project like this. So the third competition that we have in ICIA is uh, Innovation Award. Different with the Innovation Challenge, the Innovation Award will more about the project that already students have before they join ICIA, and then usually also addressing in SDG, and will give impact to the society. So we also think that it will be very related to our new curriculum in Indonesia now, Merdeka Belajar, because they're using project-based learning, and then the portfolio or the showcase project, it will become they need to exhibit something. So we give them a place and we give them the opportunity to meet people around the world to exchange their idea. And then in the exhibition actually we have several steps first. So after we acknowledge that their project become our finalist, they need to do networking session, because we believe that survive together is better than survive alone. So in this cruel world right now, we like to encourage students to do in collaboration than only competition. Uh, so I think not only in the students level now, but on already in the startup and also big company, they not really compete anymore. They're still competing, but doing the competition, which they do also the collaboration. So in the networking session, even in this time, we do it two kind virtual networking session using social media. So they upload their project, their video pitching in the platform in YouTube and other platform. But in the second way, we also exhibit their video in the metaverse world. So we have partner metaverse school that very happy to help us to exhibit the students project her metaverse school. After networking, in the networking session, we really try to uh, help students to see or to understand the other students project. So whenever they find that, oh, my project actually related to for example Budi project, so I'm trying to contact the Budi and maybe I can give feedback to Budi, and I will ask feedback also to my project, or I will do collaboration because in my project actually I need the improvement like nanny project. So I will just contact nanny, and also we do the virtual students exchange. So meaning to say in this session, the students can connecting with other teachers or chaperone for other school and get the feedback also about their project. So uh, it's not about the criticism, but about the feedback from another person to their project in order to improving what they already make. And then in the on-site, um, we not doing judging time. We do mentor judging time. So we get very much help from very much expert from professors, and then also the person from the startup and etc. to being our mentor judge, and then they share their knowledge to the students. So when the students showcase their project in the exhibit area, the judges will come to the booth and give feedback to their uh, project. So in this time, they really engage between the judge and then the students. The students can explain what they already made, and then the judge will give feedback and whatever they can improve for their project, like this. And then also during the judging session, because judge already see all the participants project, judge can connecting one project to the other project. Even sometimes they can connecting also with the startup or the government or etc. In order to helping the students to realizing what they dream about. So that's the idea of the ICIA and our other competition that we prepare for the students. Um, Based on that, so for the school, how to implement it in the school or in education, I give 3 tips for the teachers now. As I feel like in Korea, when I work in Korea, I become like you maybe some of you still remember Nokia. The slogan of Nokia, the motto of Nokia is really touching me, connecting people. So in Korea, actually, what we do is connecting people from young innovators to the inventor, to the other inventor, and to the uh, industry, to the government, to the teachers, to the other school, to the university, because for the some of the prize for this competition, we will not giving money, but we usually give them scholarship so they can pursue. They can make their dream come true about their project. And then how we implement it in the education area, in the classroom, I mean, the first thing that you need to do is inspire your student with the project, because if we want to do competition, of course we will need to have the project. It can be a science, in low technology, high technology, biotechnology, social science, um, etc., etc., etc. So actually, it's not really only addressing in technology, in science area, but also we still have several projects that actually more about humaniora, or the problem that they address is really near with the people. And then the second things that you need to do as teacher, maybe in your classroom, you need to encourage them to showcase their project. Maybe you can make the exhibition first in your school, as usually we do it after end the semester, because of our curriculum now need ask for about that, and they require about that, that after to the all the lesson we need to celebrate. I think that's the nice time to do in the exhibition, and your students can showcase their project, and based on that uh you can take your score also from your students. But very careful about that, as I'm right now also have a course in Siliman about the uh, evaluation. So as teacher, you really need to be careful to make rubric on your evaluation if you do the showcase project as your final test on your lesson. And the third, connecting them with other team. that have similar project and encourage them to build collaboration. So before your school join to the competition, it's really nice to introduce to the students how to connecting their project to the other team, so they're not feeling that they are their classmate or their other class is being their rival, but it's their collaborator partner. So they will go together, and then even though actually, yes, still have competition there actually, because not all will really go, diba? But um as long as we do it nicely, maybe it still can encourage the other teams that not win or not going to next level to improve their project. And the feedback that we give really will help them. Okay, and then uh, so if the team of today play, what is that, play, learn, and win, I will suggest for conclude my presentation, let's do collaboration. Let's do what is that, play, learn, collaborate, and win together. Thank you so much for your attention. I think it's enough for my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Wahyu. Ladies and gentlemen, according to Mrs. Wahyu, collaboration within competition offer better synergy in education. In today's era, understanding collaboration in healthy competition is important. And this starts from mentoring children, empowering them to meet and exchange ideas assistance in the judging process, and then the opportunity to incubate their work to the next stage. Thank you for your interesting presentation, Mrs. Wahyu. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention and participation. I hope you have found it informative and interesting. All right, now we will move to question and answer session. We have 15 minutes for a Q&A session. We would like to hear from you. Do you have any question or comments about our topics? This is your chance to ask anything you want to know more about or share your thought and opinion with us. Has the team compiled question for participants? Okay. The first question from Mr. Jericho Mendoza. To speaker, Mr. Saharat Laksana. The question is, as a teacher, how will you encourage students who have lower points compared to students who have higher points to strive for higher points?
All right, thank you for the question. Very interesting question. So for me, I'm gonna share what I have done in my classroom. So as a teacher, I will give some special privilege to the student who have a lot of score. For example, like very easy one, like allow those of them to bring some snack to eat in the classroom. For example, a small privilege, extra privilege to the student who have a lot of score, and allow student who have lower score to see the student who have higher score that, oh wow, if we have a lot of score, if we have the higher level, we can get some special privilege in the classroom, like having some snack in the classroom, for example. So I would say that I will reinforce students who have lower score to see those who have higher score privilege, so that they will motivate themselves, they will encourage themselves to get more and more points, so that they can get the special privilege like the other student who have more score. So I would say that I will give the privilege to the student who have higher score and let other students to see and try to do their best to get higher score and get the privilege like those who have the higher score one. That I would say.
Okay, thank you for answering the question, Mr. Laksana Sud. And then the second question from Mr. Aang Suhendars to speaker Mr. Akib Alfi. The question is how to avoid student addiction to metaverse after we use it for teaching and learning.
Thank you. Thank you so much again for the question as well. So yes, addiction is real, but addiction has many forms, right? So you can be addicted to just eating lots of similar kind of food as well, right? So in this specific case, right? So the addiction doesn't necessarily need to happen, because the reason being that you are not using metaverse as the only source of your education, right? So you need to use this technology, something that is empowering your learning system. So as I said, so if you're doing, for example, a road trip or a learning journey to a forest or to a zoo, you can use metaverse to enhance the learning by showing them all kinds of animals, what could be present in a zoo, right? And then take them to the real zoo still, right? So the point is not that you're not avoiding the reality of it, right? So the point is you use technology to help you empower your students to learn more than what they could see. Because when you go to the actual zoo, you won't have too many different animals, right? Some animals would be, you won't even see because they're hiding, they're sleeping, they're food, whatever, right? So this way you can enhance the journey at school, show them the beauty of it, show them zoos in different parts of the world, and then take them to your local zoo as well. So this way you are disengaging from metaverse itself, and you're showing them this is not the entire thing. There is the world around you as well. You can use technology only to enhance your learning journey.
Okay, thank you for answering the question, Mr. Alfi. And the third question from Ms. Anissa Nabila to speaker Dr. Vinita Dewi. The question is, how can gamification be used to promote collaboration and social interaction among students?
Yes, thank you very much for the question, Miss Ibu Anissa. And I think it's very interesting question because when we talk about gamification, we usually talk about the competition. But now you are asking about the collaborative and social interaction side of gamification. So I think when we do the gamification, we can set a kind of mission like a team-based challenge where students can collaborate in reaching the goals. But then we can also think about giving different roles to the students. We know that different students might have different specialty, different kind of skills. So let them choose the kind of task that they are going to complete, that they are going to finish, and then they have a shared responsibility on reaching or achieving the final goals or the mission. If you watch a Harry Potter movie, it's also the lectures there also gamify the learning process by giving points to different house like Gryffindor, Slytherin, and so on and so forth. So every individuals also have the responsibility on adding to the points of the whole house or of the whole groups, so that they have a responsibility on being doing good things, or if they do bad things, then it will reduce the point of the house. So it also give a sense of shared responsibility, collaboration, and also social interaction among the students. Well, all in all, everything is about balancing, just like what Mr. Akib mentioned about we are not going to use metaverse all the time. So here also we are not going to use gamification all the time, or we are not going to use the same game mechanic all the time. Sometimes we use points, some other times we use leaderboard, some other times we use badges and so on. So balancing and think appropriately about how we design our games will be the basic things that we need to consider. Thank you, Ibu Sinta. Hope that answered the question.
Okay, thank you for answering the question, Dr. Vinita. Is there any question? Okay. The fourth question from Mr. Fauzan Azim to speaker Mrs. Wahyu. The question is, how does competition promote critical thinking, problem solving, and other essential skills for students?
Okay, I get the questions. Um, so actually, as I mentioned before in the introduction of my presentation, that we naturally do competition because we need to survive. Yes. So, God already give us the tools in ourselves to compete. What is that? The strength, the brain, the thinking, and the problem solving as well. That's why if you learn about that kind of curriculum now that we use problem based learning or project based learning, actually we want to emphasize the taxonomy bloom in the highest taxonomy bloom, which is in critical thinking and creating something. If you do competition, you need to prepare. The things that I talk about the competition is not about you get the first rank in your classroom, but how you solving a problem and showcasing to other people, how you promote yourself as an innovator, how you promote yourself as an inventor, as we need to compete with other person, right? And then of course, for this kind of thing, you really need to have a critical thinking to address what kind of problem that I have, what kind of problem that the world have. And after that, you come with your idea, your solution. And then as a teacher, as a mentor, as a chaperone, as a whoever that guide the students, will try to help the students to visualizing their idea, right? And then after they getting idea, they will sorting their idea, which idea that they can do, and logic to do, and possible to do. And then after that, they will doing hands-on activity to make it as a prototype, as a visual. They visualizing a design what the solution that they already have. Of course, that it will be leading them to get or to improve their critical thinking. I hope that will answer. Thank you, Ma'am Sinta.
Okay, thank you for answering the question, Mrs. Wahyu. Is there any question? Oh, okay. From Anonymous to speaker all speakers. The question is, how can we determine what kind of gamification methods is suitable for the fast learner and slow learner? Who could?
Yeah, I think I could just quickly start, right? So the whole point of gamification is to allow people to learn at their own speed, at their own pace. So if there are fast learners, they will go through those challenges much faster, get those badges much faster, right? And those who are slow learners, they will have their own pathway. And that's the beauty of gamification, so that you can actually see that, okay, who's a slow learner, who's a fast learner. But again, the point is, like slow learners doesn't mean that they are bad learners as well. They just have a different learning mechanism, and you need to support that, right? You need to design the system that they are also supported along the way, right? And as I always say, right, so in a 30 student classroom, no two students are the same. So they will all have their own learning mechanism, their own learning strategies. You just need to be able to advise them and guide them along the way. Let them choose their own pathway, because that's the best way they learn. So you have to find that best pathway. I think that's the most important bit. Having a slow or fast is not the big thing. It's like finding the pathway in the first place is the most important bit in gamification.
Well, I think I can add to Mr. Akib's answers. I do agree with you that we as the learning designer need to design the path for our learners. That's what makes gamification is different with the traditional learning. In traditional learning, we give the same task to all students and ask them to finish it at the same speed. But in gamification, then we need to give some kinds of extra task if they fail in the first task, and give them extra tasks to repeat in different way or to get reinforcement in different way. But for fast learner, if they can finish the first task, then they can go on to the second, the third, and the fourth task. They can finish it faster, or give them more talent so that the speed will be the same at the end of the day. Everyone finish the task, but they have different skills. They may achieve different kind of skills because some are get more advanced learning experience, and the other get the right learning experience that we have set. That's based on my experience. That's the challenge for us as educators to design the learning task. Thank you, Ibu Sinta.
Okay, and the other speaker will answer the question.
Let
Mrs.
me add a little bit. Yeah, for me, I think gamification concept, gamification element is suited for all kind of student. The lower, the faster. I think it's suited for everyone, for every student. But I think the key important thing that teacher should consider is how can we deal with this kind of situation when fast learner can get more and more points, right? But slow learner get the lowest point all the time. So I think we as a teacher should find some solution for this. Maybe you can create a mission that allow the fast learner to help slow learner to complete the task, maybe, so that they can help each other and the slow learner can learn from the fast learner as well. I will give this kind of guideline for this one, and I think this is a challenge for every teacher who apply gamification concept. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Laksana Sud. And then Mrs. Wahyu.
I think I agree with all the speakers.
Okay. All right. Thank you again to all of the speakers for answering those questions, and and for the great presentation. It was a pleasure to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, give applause to the speakers. Finally, now we have reached the end of this webinar. I would like to say thank you to all the speakers for the great webinar and the participation, the audience, their active participation. Thank you for attention. Next, I return to the Mr. Akil of this event. Thank you.
Thank you to our wonderful moderator, Dr. Arsinta, for keeping the session engaging and innovative. That's a quite good. That's wonderful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to the next agenda. We have come to the end of this webinar. Thank you for everyone for joining us today in this insightful webinar. We hope that you have gained valuable knowledge and insight from our distinguished speaker and moderators. Before we end this wonderful event, may I present to you the official social media accounts of Simulec as shown on your screen. Please feel free to follow us and find out the newest information of our programs. And also, don't forget to claim your e-certificate by registering to this registration link before May 6, 2024, and fill out a questionnaire link before May 6, 2024, and the certificate will be ready to download on your e-training account on May 13, 2024. Would like to extend our appreciation to all of our speakers for sharing with all webinar participants about theories and principles of gamification and competition in education, as well as showcasing successful implementations and exploring their impacts on students' motivation, engagement, and learning outcomes. We also thank our audience for your active participation and engagement in this event. We look forward to seeing you in our future events. Have a great day and thank you.
It's time to open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow. Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn through science, health, and technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world. Let us take a step for our visions of hope, bringing future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and dreams. Hear us savior, building the future is our legacy. We'll achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams for a better